strategy in terms of what you were doing to be able to appeal to your customer?
So I think this happened. This situation happened all of a sudden, right? I don't think a lot of businesses or any of the business, if I may say, were sort of fully prepared to go through this situation, right? And then lockdown happened, and we realized that people are. At the end of the day, we are in the furniture industry, right? If you need a
Right.
bed, you need a bed. But the lockdown also came with a lot of restrictions. You can't move, you can't go out of your house. One thing that we realized is there are people who are, people are still ordering with us. People are still looking out for furniture options, and they are the order volumes. They definitely dropped because people knew that we will not be able to deliver because furniture is not an essential category.
Right.
But we were surprised that people had faith. They were patient enough, and they were still ordering. In an anticipation that whenever the lockdown opens, we will deliver. So change in business, or let's say a marketing strategy. Uh, I would say that we slowly, we understood the situation, but we realized that it's extremely important for people to, for us to address the problems that people are facing. There were times and there were situations when people wanted to close their subscription because they were going back home, or perhaps it was a tenure which was about to get over, and they would want to return the products. So we made sure that we reached out to the customers. I think it was the most important thing that we did. We reached out to customers, and we made sure that any grievance or any concern that they were having, which is related to their existing orders or the new orders, they were first getting solved. And that's how we sort of looked at the situation. And then whatever happened only after that. So first, the customers who were existing and new, we focused entire concentration on them. And there were honestly less conversation around growth and more conversation around giving the right experience to customers, because we felt that was the need of the hour.
Sure, sure, understood. And in terms of, let's say, considering again the situation, people spending more time at home now, how do you think has the market opened up to you? And was there anything specific that you did to increase the brand awareness? While RentoMojo is a very well recognized brand, and in terms of furniture rental, it is definitely the top notch. But what were some of the things that you did to capitalize on this time that people are now spending home and obviously looking at the space that they have?
Right. So, like I said, when this entire situation, it happened where none of us were prepared, and it also, a lot of people also had. They were grappling with how to balance work, how to balance work and home and stuff like that. So I think mental health was extremely important. So we tried to give this entire situation a very, very positive spin so that we could reach out to customers. We created moments and shared this with the customers that are positive, and sort of had a narrative that use this time, or this is also an opportunity for us to bond with our loved ones. And home is where it happens, right?
Right,
So
right.
even if you are away from your loved ones, or even if you are not together, this is a time where you can actually connect with them. When the lockdown started, soon enough we actually created a video that encapsulated this entire narrative. After that, we were mostly focused on creating content which talked about um, things that are happening because of lockdown, right? We wanted people to focus more on their mental health. We wanted people to focus more on productivity, and at the same time, we wanted people to relax, because at the end of the day, it's not a competition. It's a situation that everybody is grappling with.
Right.
So these were some of the key things that we did from the marketing standpoint, or from a standpoint that helps customer feel that this is a situation that should get over and will get over very soon.
Right. Absolutely. Understood. And what I also would like to know from you is, since you all, definitely lead the market in terms of furniture rentals,
Yeah.
what is it that you have been doing that differentiates you from the competitor? And anything that you changed during the course of lockdown and in the COVID times, also knowing that we will now have to survive with the virus, anything that you all are planning to change there?
So I think the most important aspect that everyone, and not just us, is talking about is how precaution is the best cure, right? And we are seeing that uh, there are problems that there are less hospitals. There are problems that there are not enough medication that's available, and it's extremely important that even when the lockdown has sort of relaxed, it's extremely important for us to take care of ourselves,
Sure.
right? And at the same time, like I said, we are still getting orders and people are renting furniture. uh, the entire perception of how furniture is safe, that was extremely important. So our focus is we are highly focused on creating a very very safe environment where the entire delivery process happens, right? So right from the warehouse, we spend a lot of time in training people who are our delivery partners, who are our delivery teams, in terms of how to handle the furniture safely, right? Each and every furniture type or appliance type is different. So how do we sanitize them? How do we disinfect them? And how then we ensure that there are very, very safe practices that we do, so that the product is reached to a customer's place in a very safe and sanitized condition. So I think the entire focus has been there during the lockdown. And I think people, it's very important to also understand what is the value that you're providing to your customer right now. If you understand their pain points, people talk about that brands need to be empathetic, and what does it really mean? What does empathy really mean? So we figured out that the pain points of customers right now are very very different. A lot of people wanted to go back to their houses. A lot of people wanted to sort of close their tenure earlier than they would have done otherwise if the situation did not persist. And we thought that this is the time that if we don't be on our customers side, we will probably not be the brand that we aspire to be. So we
Right.
have to be on customers side. We had to understand their problems like it is our own, and we had to give them solutions and provide solutions, not thinking revenue or targets or number of orders in our mind, but considering that the situation is such that customer has to win. I mean, we provide a solution where the customer is a winner. So those were the kind of steps that we took internally, and we ensured that customers, we definitely saw a huge, like the customers were extremely patient with us, but there were also some glitches. It was the first time for us as well,
Yeah,
and
it's a learning and it's a journey for
it
everyone.
was definitely a learning curve, and we realized that the customers are extremely patient. Even when they were sort of angry that you're not listening to us, or we are not able to get through the calls. The moment we would call up, they would very patiently describe their problems, and they would in fact themselves say that we understand that it's not easy for you guys as well. So I think there was a very we saw a great aspect of mutual understanding of the business and customers, especially in our in our case and in our category, and it was really great to see. So that was a great, like you said, it was a great learning curve for us.
Right. So with your, the precautionary measures in place now, in check now, broadly, now you think that the operations are full swing with the lockdown being lifted?
Oh yes. So May 1st is when we got a lot of like the entire country went through a little relaxation during that time. So May 1st is when we started getting permissions for different cities. Of course, the procedure for different authorities in different cities were different. So we were actually functional by May 17th. So all the cities finally started its operations by May 17th. Before that, here and there, we were still trying to, reach out to authorities and take the right permission. And there were cross-border permissions that we had to take. There were intercity permissions that we had to take because our vehicles would carry heavy furniture from one place to another. So those kind of permissions took some time, but now we are completely operational.
Right. So actually, one of the questions that I wanted to pick up, and one of the listeners here had also mentioned, Aishwarya Shaw has put up this question, that in terms of inventories, have there been a shift in the needs of the consumer? Right. So, in terms of what are they now looking at, and with the work from home in place, do you see a shift?
Thank you so much for your question, Aishwarya. We definitely see that. Earlier, let's say if the kind of products that were game changers for category like ours were very basic necessities, like a bed and a mattress and a wardrobe. But I think with maximum of our target audience now working from home, are very early realizing the need of a proper work from home setup. I will take this. I'll share this story with you. When I was in Bombay a few years back, my flatmate and I, we never felt the need of having an AC. And Bombay is a very, very hot city. It's a very humid city. Because we always used to say that, hey, we are anyway going to spend a lot of time in office, and we don't really need that additional expense. But I don't think it's that kind of case now. People are investing more in products which are also helping them being more productive, right? If you have a better work from home, if you have a space where you can work properly, there is less distraction. Even if you're staying with parents, they know that you're working, so there is less distraction. There's more productivity. You're more focused.
Right.
So that's very important. So
Yeah.
definitely the kind of inventories that are looking an increase are the work from home setup. People are investing in a better living space. So products like sofas, TVs, they are also being they are also in demand.
Right. So yeah, you're right about a clear demarcation, even while working from home,
Yeah.
to create your own little workspace definitely helps. So
Yes.
thank you for that information. I'm sure a lot of our colleagues also are young. We have a very young team, so I think makes sense for them to get to know about this. One of the questions that Manasvi has, she wants to know that. What is the situation on renting furniture for outdoors, especially in a place like Lonavala? Is it safe to rent out furniture for commercial homestays now?
So Manasvi, I think the way lockdown has relaxed, we are all being, sort of advised that we should stay at home. And if you're looking at commercial spaces, uh, renting of furniture, I won't say that it's unsafe, right? Because all of us are spending a lot of time to create processes and make the processes so robust that products are delivering to you in a very safe environment, right? But if you ask me, should we be or should you be renting space for a commercial, renting products for commercial space, I would say that, stay home for some more time unless it's extremely urgent, and only then sort of invest in this particular aspect.
Right. Also, one of the questions that is coming up on the window is the brand looking at changing the product mix due to COVID? Like, for example, a lot more vacuum cleaners or vacuum bots now being offered. Is that a trend that you're seeing or something that you have implemented?
So one thing that we definitely realized was, and this was a joke that used to go around in office as well, that who does the dish when there are, who is doing the dishes? So I
Utensils, yeah.
think Bartan Manjana is a very difficult and stressful task that we realized, and a lot of people reached out to us, sharing this suggestion. So we had dishwashers in our catalog earlier as well, but we realized that there is an organic demand of products like these, including work from home space, because it's sharing your load, to be really honest. So vacuum cleaners is definitely a great add to the inventory list. We are definitely thinking about it, and we feel that in the longer run as well, products like these will be very helpful. But what we heard from customers and what we added in the inventory was definitely a dishwasher. So you will see that on RentoMojo's catalog.
Sure, that's some relief for a lot of people who are working from home, having tough and busy days, as well as having to do a lot of household chores.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, moving on, Yash wants to know that with the drastic shift in demand volumes, how are you optimizing your supply chain to stay lean and cost cognizant?
Um, it was a little difficult initially. We were definitely looking at the kind of so initially the first step that we took in terms of operations was finishing the backlogs. Right, there were so many orders that were pending and that were even during lockdown. Like I said, we were getting orders, and the deliveries were not happening because lockdown did not permit us to deliver the products. So I think initially a lot of backlog, that was there, is something that we cleared up. In terms of increase in organic demand, I think we had soon we had anticipated that the way the trends were going, and we were on top of the news as well in terms of how are people reacting to this whole work from home scenario, and we soon realized that it is not going to get the usual the normal usual that we are used to. So we are well aware of that kind of demand, and we are on top of that planning. We are making sure that the inventories with us are they are well enough so that it suits the demand of the increasing organic demand.
Right, got it. Pratap RK wants to know how will be the modular kitchen demand here on more affordable kitchen business and rentals. So I think what he wants to know is the more affordable kitchen business and rentals going to see a boom?
Yeah, I think modular kitchens have already seen uh, a good surge. They are well accepted now. People understand and see the value in having a modular kitchen in their homes. Uh, is it also prevalent in rental industry? Do the tenants also invest that kind of amount in a houses do they live? Is something that we yet have to discover. We
Measure.
haven't come across that. There are more people who own their houses. They are the ones who are definitely investing in modular kitchens. This is also something, as one of the areas that, because we give out rental appliances, a lot of customers also, sort of came back to us and mentioned that we should also give modular kitchens on rent. That's definitely a very interesting space. I think a few months down the line is something that we can look at this particular product as well.
Right. I think that is definitely an opportunity and space to look at. But
Yeah.
like you mentioned, you've not sort of run a measure to know whether that is something that will open up with people renting spaces.
Yeah. So this is something which has also not come from our customers. Actively, there is a huge shift in different kind of products like table, comfortable chairs, better TVs, better sofas, appliances, kitchen appliances. But people have not actively sort of created a demand for a modular kitchen for a rental space, because they are also and we also there's one thing that we also realized is this is not a time where people are going to invest a lot of uh, costing in luxury,
Yeah.
right? And I'm not saying that modular kitchens are luxury, but this is a time where people are very selective in where they are investing their money, right? So I think they are mostly looking for essentials which are already available on our catalog. And I think if I may say that modular kitchen is more on a luxury setup, I think it will to open up to that market, even for a rental category and rental business like ours. I personally feel that it will take some time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Understood. Pooja Kumar wants to know that what are the major challenges that the rental marketplaces have faced during the lockdown?
Right. So, so the first and foremost challenge that we faced was definitely um, the category itself being a non-essential. So, from the business point of view, that was a major challenge that we were not able to deliver. Then the other challenge was, you know, people there were some people who also were going back to their houses for whatever reason. Some perhaps might have been in an unfortunate situation of losing their jobs, or just because they're continuing to work from home. So I
Right.
think those were the two important aspects that I would sort of call as a challenge. And but slowly we are also seeing new people, new demand that's coming in for the category. And I think because now when we are completely operational in all the cities, slowly we are overcoming that challenge as well.
Great. Good to know about that. Another question that I've seen on the window a couple of times is, has the pandemic impacted the consumer mindset and made them consider renting over buying? Is that a pattern that you see?
That's a very interesting question, I would say. There are two aspects to it. Uh, when in 2014, when we launched, late 2014, uh, the first 3 years, I saw that there was a lot of stigma attached to the entire category of renting, right? How will I use someone else's cupboard? How will I use someone else's sofa? I don't even know who has used this particular appliance, and so on and so forth. But slowly we realized that that ownership mindset, that buying mindset is changing. People know what is important. People understand the power of access over ownership, and they are not driven by the usual norms of ownership, which in our category is buying, right? They understand that they need flexibility, they understand that they need convenience, and those were the kind of aspects that are still prevalent, right? How pandemic has impacted this overall category, I would say, uh, uh, this is a point where we see that a lot of demand, a lot of growth is completely organic. People understand that this is not the time to invest in buying furniture, in buying household items, or let's say furniture or appliance items, for a simple reason that they need flexibility. You don't know how the situation is going to pan out in next 2 or 3 months, and that's why they don't. Nobody wants that kind of burden, nobody wants that kind of commitment. And renting provides a huge flexibility. People are people are very happy that they are accessing all kind of furniture and appliances at a very, very cost effective manner. They are loving the convenience that they don't have to go to a furniture store and perhaps buy. They don't have to wait for an appliance or a furniture to come for more than 2-3 days. So I think that's the kind. So they have the luxury of time and they have the flexibility. So I think these are the two key takeaways that we saw, and people have in mind whenever, and I think that's the impact. That's a positive impact of, thankfully, a positive impact of this pandemic on the entire category.
Right. Actually, that's a very important insight that you just shared with us in terms of not just furniture renting, but renting or sharing per se, which is accessibility over ownership.
Yeah.
The whole shift in mindset that I could do more with what I have rather than just investing in a little few.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that with us. Um, Panisa wants to know that as many industries grapple with what the future will look like, as a brand, what measures are you taking to subside fears, and how is the brand adopting its marketing strategies to promote spending on rentals versus buying furniture?
Um, that's a very important question, right? Like I also answered in one of the questions that you asked, that uh, safety is extremely important. And like I said, precaution is better than cure, and everybody is going by that logic. We've spent a lot of time, and we've spent a lot of time in training our teams. First, understanding ourselves, how we will make the inventories and the product that we have in our catalog safe, right? And that's the kind of training that has been given to the team as well. And I think the entire concentration is around how do we make the products reach safely from our warehouse to the houses of the customers. And that's extremely important. Sorry, I missed the second part of the question, Tuhina.
So the other part of the question is, how is the brand adopting its marketing strategies to promote spending on rentals, to encourage spending on rentals versus buying furniture? As a brand, what have you adopted in terms of
Right.
your marketing strategy?
Right. So it's renting honestly is a mindset, right? And it's also a habit or a behavior, a consumer behavior that perhaps may not change overnight. But if you look at trends which have very fastly evolved and very, very quickly evolved in the last 2 months, a lot of people, when they're talking to their friends, when they are looking at the news and the kind of situations that are panning out, I think they are themselves giving a lot of learning and insights to customers in terms of what is the right way to go, right? And like I said, all of us, we have our own journeys in terms of where to invest. We have stopped going out, we've stopped going to movies. A lot of movies are being released on OTT platforms. Keeping safety in mind, I think there are a lot of organic habits that have developed already, and there are certain consumer behavior which we see because there are trends that have developed over a period of very small span. Over 2-3 months, I think some trends have developed, and I think they have given a push to this entire category, or in a much more organic sense. I'm speaking to a lot of people. I speak to a lot of customers myself, and I see that this is an inflection point of the category to a growth curve. And that's why I feel that probably we may not have to spend money in changing behavior, because it's a mindset that people are adopting any which way. They are evaluating what's right for them, and they are taking steps towards especially renting furniture and appliances, or organically. So I think that's good news.
Yeah, that answers the question. Also, Yash would want to know that with many stakeholders now in place, such as returning customers, delivery partners, and prospective customers, what is the communication strategy that you have in place to address each one of these stakeholders?
Yeah. Thank you. That's a question that's very close to my heart, for a very important reason that it did not come overnight, right? We did a lot of learning, we did a lot of understanding. Thankfully, there were so many brands who were active and operational even during pandemic. That gave us a lot of learning, and we also realized what consumers want. So the first and foremost thing that we did was, reach out to customers and ensure that they are not uh, uh, panicking, that we are there with them, right? And any concern, any issue that they are facing, we are there at the forefront to help them. So that was the most important aspect. We tried giving our customers confidence. Was that an easy journey? It definitely saw some glitches, because we were all working from home. There were teams, probably not hustling together in an office environment, but working together on Zoom calls. So that was something that we did instantly, instilling confidence in customers that we are there. And through content marketing, we are developing content which is not only spreading awareness, and this may also answer a few earlier questions, that this is how we are spreading awareness as well, right? Not all of us know how, no, not all of us are used to working from home for a very, very long period of time. And we're doing that. I think it's about the third month that we are all, sort of homebound and working from home. And slowly people are realizing that, hey, I've got a backache. Hey, I'm not able to concentrate. And those are the kind of things which, I'm not saying that it will be solved by furniture renting, but aspects like how having a better workspace is important for you, right?
Right.
So educating that and bringing those aspects in consideration is something that we are doing for more awareness, and also for reaching out to customers, and sort of giving an education that, hey, do you think that you are not able to concentrate because probably you're lying on a bed and working, or probably you don't have a right workspace to to
That you work
focus. So
to.
these are the kind of things that we are doing in terms of communication and in terms of content marketing, to not just have all the stakeholders come at the same time, and talk to customers, but at the same time spread awareness about this entire category.
Right. So what I hear is that you have been working on these triggers that work from home brings in, like having a dedicated space, like maybe not being in the right posture while working, possibly having the right kind of furniture to enable a demarcated space. So that those are the aspects that you've been consistently
Yeah,
fulfilling.
absolutely. And you know what? This is a very funny story, that all of these things, because we are all customers and consumers of such service as well. We all have furniture in our houses, right? And all these problem statements came from not just our customers, but within the employee set as well. A lot of colleagues were complaining, right? And when we used to have these meetings and everyday huddles with the team members, some of them would say that they would complain about the backache, or they would complain about I'm not able to divide my time between household chores and office work. And we try to understand why is that happening, right? And we realized that workspace and not having a proper home setup could was one of the prominent reasons. And and we sort of rolled this question to a few of our customers as well, existing customers. And we definitely saw that there was a difference between people who had a work from home setup or a proper home setup versus the people who did not. And that was sort of a learning from us. Does it hold true for everybody? I don't think so, but it definitely holds true for a majority of people.
Got it. Understood. Thanks for sharing that. Next up, Avinash Shenoy wants to know, what is your view on brand loyalty in this category? Do you foresee a lot more unorganized players coming into the furniture rental segment on a price value equation?
Could you repeat the first aspect of the question, please?
What is your view on the brand loyalty in this
Right.
category?
Right. So the category itself is 5 years old, right? Or 5 or 6 years old. Before that, there were no players in an organized furniture rental space. Um, I think us and people who are, the brands who are in this category, they've all built the category codes to bring the category today where furniture rental space is, right? So I think everyone has done the bit to educate the customers. Everyone has done has done their bit to create nuances and create codes of the category. Uh, People did not have a lot of love towards this service, right? There was no clear understanding of why should I rent. There were answers like, because I'm here, I'm here in a city for a project for, let's say, 6 months, and that's why I'm renting. Or for example, I don't want to spend a lot of time. The entire mindset change has taken, half a decade to change. Now, the first go-to option whenever a tenant goes into a new, in an unfurnished setup, new or old, the first thing or the first choice that they have is to rent. Now, coming to your second part of the question, that renting can happen from an unorganized market player or an organized market player. The reasons that people now prefer an organized market player like ours is because they understand there's so much convenience related to the service. They don't have to go to the second-hand market. They don't have to haggle about the kind of quality that they are struggling with, or they don't have to figure out what's the logistics. And not just these are primarily the functional benefits, I would say. But when people are shifting to, when they've used the service, when they've used the products, and now let's say they're shifting from a place to another, then also we provide free relocation, which probably does not happen in an unorganized market. If I have to give my products to my flatmate, there is a possibility to do that as well, right? If let's say 4 people have jointly taken some products for their house, they don't have the entire conversation of who gets to keep how much money, right, when they're disposing the furniture. So those are the kind of things which definitely overpower an unorganized sector. And as long as brand loyalty is concerned, you I personally believe that unless you give value to the customer, right, they will not stick with you. So you really need to build that kind of relationship with customers, and if they see value in your product, and even if they are spending 100, 200, or even $500 extra than a competition or an unorganized market, if they see value in the service that you're providing, they will stick with you. So I think that's providing the right value and understanding what your customer wants, and providing and ensuring that you're providing that to the customer. That I think is extremely important.
Great. A very important point there, Tulika, on driving value with the customers for them to stick around and be loyal to the brand. Moving on, we have a very interesting question from Vikas, which is from a marketer's mindset, which says that your campaign, Curious Case of a Furnished Flat, was a very interesting take. Can you run us through how did you come up with this campaign and how has it done?
Yeah. Thank you for asking that question, Vikas. I'm glad that you that you find it interesting. Initially, when we used to develop the campaigns, it was mostly around pain points of what a renter goes through, right? Giving them convenience, talking about cost effectiveness, talking about, hey, you can rent a furniture with no commitment. Those were the kind of talking points that we had while we started talking to a larger set of customers through creation of video campaigns. Slowly, that was not the battle to fight, because people understood the value, people understood the benefits of renting. And then we wanted to create, we want to create moments, how and when renting is identified, right? So we realized that what are the times when people think of RentoMojo? Where are the times, and where are the what is the life stage, and where are the moments of in customers' life that people think of renting and then RentoMojo? So the entire campaign was actually based around that how do we develop a moment which is directly associated to renting. So that's why you will see that these two characters, it was actually a three-part series. And, in each series, in each episode of the three-part ad series, there was one aspect of renting that was being touched upon. So first was how a person, when two people are coming together, and our customer is smart. They know what are the options available. They in their consideration, they've already done all the calculation, and they know that what's the right choice for them. So that's why we created characters who are tenants, because they are our biggest target audience. We created moment, which is them coming into a house and looking for a cool space, a perfect space for them to make their bachelor pad. And one person giving this understanding that I just have to rent, so you don't have to worry about how is it coming all together and how much money that we're going to spend. So it was that's the kind of smoothness of the entire process of renting that we shared. So that's how the entire campaign came together. Talking to the right set of customers, which is the tenant in our case, and creating a moment. So the moment you are moving inside a new or even an old unfurnished apartment, you should think of RentoMojo. So that was the kind of that was the whole thought behind this campaign.
Thoughts to be driven, right? And I think you all did it fairly well, because that's something that resonates with the audiences that have gone through the campaign.
Right.
Vignesh would like to understand here that undoubtedly this is a fairly new category, and what are the key aspects that induce trial here?
So induction of trial is it depends upon a lot of factors. One of the primary factors that we saw was friends recommending the service, right? It's a very need-based category. If I don't need a sofa in my, I don't need it. But usually it starts from, let's say, a small ticket item, right? I don't have, some are necessities, of course. And that's why we have created our catalog in a way that if you're just trying it, you can actually try it for a lesser cost, if cost is a barrier. And then you can rent up to it starts from a normal a steel bed with a plywood, but at the same time there are great wooden beds as well, right? So induction of trial can happen because there is low cost barrier, because friends are recommending it, and that's why you like the service. I think these are the two most important aspects of why people try renting. So the moment there is no adoption barrier related to if it's going to be clean, if it's going to be if it's about quality, once we talk about these kind of points through our campaigns and through our customer testimonials, there is usually a very low the adoption barrier is usually very less. So these are very important aspects for us to highlight people in terms of how is the quality, so well maintained, how we are keeping up with consumer demand of all these products, but at the same time providing them high value and high quality product. So I think these two are important aspects in trying a renting as a business or renting as a service.
Sure, understood. Moving on, Atyukti Pachori would want to understand this, that the category in pre-COVID times was pegged at almost 800 USD. And now with most of this as part of the new normal, are we seeing reverse migration as work from home seems the inevitable possibility? Do you think that would endanger the category growth? If not, where do you see category growth coming from? So
Hey,
basically,
yeah,
what the market looked like, what the new normal sort of entails. Is there a reverse migration, and is there a danger on the growth? And
right,
if not, where is the growth coming from?
right. So if you look at people who are going back to their homes, are there people going? Are there people going back to their home during this entire, after the COVID lockdown? Yes, there are, but a large chunk of people still prefer to stay, in the cities where they are, because they also don't want to, travel in this time. That's first, and at the same time, it's not a permanent situation. People still would like to work, people still would like to have their setup, right? So it's extremely important for us to understand that uh, uh, the reverse migration is not happening at a rate where the category itself would see a danger. In fact, the upside to it is people are investing a lot of time, they're staying a lot of they're staying at home for a very long time, and that's extremely that's a big push. That's a big push to the category itself. They understand the importance of having a good setup at home. They are extremely conscious about how they are spending, and that's why they are choosing a service like renting, because they understand and they know that it comes with a lot of flexibility. So there's a lot of power in a service like this, which is giving people not just the comfort in their house, but at the same time a flexibility that they would enjoy in this period of time. So we actually have seen a huge organic demand, when even if let's say the spends are less, people are actually inquiring about different kind of products. People are talking about introducing vacuum cleaners, etc. So while there are people who are still going back home, and there's no denial to that, there are new segments which are opening up. People who perhaps had not thought of renting are now sort of shifting uh, 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 towards this mindset. And we feel that this is definitely a growth point.
Yeah, and it's here to stay.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So we have about last 10 minutes left. So we'll take the last few questions before we
Sure.
are wrapping up the session.
Right.
Uh, Pratap RK would want to understand specifically from, I think, his business point of view, that where do you see the commercial furniture rental market moving in the next 1 to 2 years? He's also asking this question since they are into furniture manufacturing.
Right. So I think, Pratap, that's an extremely interesting space to watch out for. But what I personally believe is, commercial businesses could be restaurants, could also be offices, and all these businesses, they are doing. They're making provisions, they're creating provisions so that people come back to using their services, right? Even in offices, for example, not all the offices will have given their employees a permanent work from home, right? So there are high chances that people will still come back to offices. but the way people will see their offices probably will be different, right? There will be makeshift arrangements for people who are, returning back to offices. So uh, there will definitely be a demand of those kind of furniture where, probably a modular furniture where you can create your own kind of space in an office setup or a commercial setup. So I think industries like these and categories like these are creating you know they're creating opportunities for people to return. And once, I think, when the situation gets better, these categories will also see surge.
Right. Yeah, I think Pratap, that explains it. I'll take two questions together, which are around coverage. So Pooja wants to know that do you all offer renter insurance, and if so, what does it cover? And Aravind would want to understand that how do you all validate the credibility of a customer with respect to rent payment, and how well are they maintaining the piece of furniture?
Right. So I'll take the first question that
About
asks.
renters insurance.
Yeah, that talks about rental insurance. So um, and in fact, I'm glad that you're talking about both the questions together. The set of consumer, the set of customer who's coming to us is a set which is they are educated, they are they understand that they are that the product is their responsibility, right? I'm not saying that it creates a sort of tension in their mind that, hey, this is not my furniture and that's why I should not, I have to use it carefully, etc. Thankfully, they use it the way they like, but at the same time, people are extremely responsible, right? There are no rental insurance on the product, but we definitely cover. There is a damage policy that we have, and small wear and tear. If the product is not working well, or if, let's say, an appliance has gone is not working fine, there is a free maintenance service that's being provided, right? And at the same time, we ensure that customers get good quality products, right? When the products are delivered to our customer's house, it's made sure that it's a quality furniture, right? And that is something that our customers appreciate, and they take care of the product as well. So like I said, there is a damage policy that covers any kind of small wear and tear and non-functionality of an appliance. But at the same time, if there is a huge physical damage, then we sort of speak to the customer. And the second part of question is, how do we understand the credibility of a customer? Uh, uh, you know, uh, so there are a few there are a few checks that are in place. And if let's say people are not paying rent in time, and when situations like these arise, then there are measures that we take. We reach out to customers and try and understand why such situation is happening. And the system sort of identifies some certain kind of pattern, right? And then it's a very system driven approach, where we identify who is the right profile, and who's a credible profile. And that's how the entire delivery of order happens. So that's why we have a small KYC process. There is a know your customer process in place, where we take certain documents and we assure that the product is going to right people. There is a law. Quite a few checkpoints that we have, and when we ensure that there is all these check boxes are ticked, so that the product is also reaching out to the right customer.
Right. So, in the interest of time, I'll just post the last question for you. Would you like to share some tips, or tell us anything about home appreciation from the side of RentoMojo, like in terms of what would be a great renting for anybody trying to either look at a home appreciation right now, or trying to rent out and test out a few things?
Yeah, so I think we've spoken enough about it already, but not just from RentoMojo, even if you are taking from somewhere else, but please invest in a good and a comfortable chair and a table, because if you're spending a lot of time working, I have myself seen a huge shift in focus and also a good posture. So definitely invest in that. And if you want to go a little notch up ahead, and you want to, if you feel more motivated, definitely spend some on creating either little corners for yourself, or just uplifting your living room. I think these two aspects suddenly just uplift the entire home. And what we've also seen is people renting appliances, especially like refrigerator or microwave, because a lot of we've seen a lot of homegrown chefs these days. And I think those are the kind of products, if you sort of bring it home, there's so many things that you can do with those. So these and one thing that I sort of missed out, and I would definitely like to add, is fitness. So we also have fitness products and fitness. There's a category of fitness that's available with RentoMojo. It's so important that we are all at home, we are working, and sort of not stepping out, and there is very less social interaction. Taking care of yourself is extremely important. So I think that would be my note to everybody, that please spend some time on staying fit, both mentally and physically.
Right. Thank you so much there. Great interaction. We totally enjoyed having this session with you, and I'm sure the viewers and the listeners also enjoyed it equally. You were very, very patient with taking up all the questions too. So, yeah, thanks from everybody at Social Beat. We look forward to having conversations with you in future.
Thank you so much, Tuhina, and thank you everybody once again. I hope you liked the conversation that we had, and I'm extremely thankful that all of you attended this session. Thank you so much, Tuhina, and thank you, Social Beat. Thank you,
Thanks a
guys.
lot. Have a good evening.
Thank
Bye.
you. You too.